welcome to the deep dive. If you've ever felt sort of stuck, in loops of stress or anxiety, maybe dissatisfaction and changing things on the outside, jobs, relationships, just doesn't seem to fix it. Well, today's deep dive might just be the shortcut you need. We're exploring spiritual illusions, how thoughts, concepts, and perception shape your reality. Yeah, our mission today is basically to hand you a kind of blueprint for your own mind. We want to show you how these really subtle, almost invisible mental habits are actually building these powerful distortions, these illusions that keep you feeling locked in and, frankly, suffering unnecessarily.
Exactly. And we're not talking about, magic tricks or external forces fooling you. Spiritual awakening, as we're seeing in the material we looked at, is really about seeing through these illusions you yourself create. They come from thought, perception, and maybe the biggest one, identification.
Right. And once you really get how these illusions are built, piece by piece, it kind of changes everything. You start to see that real freedom isn't about rearranging the furniture outside. It's about getting this radical clarity inside yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this then. If our reality feels distorted, what are these illusions actually made of? We have to start with the very way we think and talk, right? There's this idea our sources call conceptual emptiness.
Yeah, conceptual emptiness sounds maybe a bit abstract, but it's incredibly practical. It basically says that all the concepts, the labels, the mental boxes we use, table, success, failure, me, they don't have some ultimate fixed meaning baked into them. They're useful tools, sure, but they're not the thing itself.
Like a map isn't the territory.
Precisely. We need concepts, obviously, to function, to communicate. But the illusion kicks in when we start treating the concept like it's solid, like it's the final word. Think about calling someone angry. That label, angry, it just captures a temporary pattern, right? A fleeting energy. But when you solidify it, when you start believing angry is who they are, deep down and permanently, well, you've mistaken the concept for the whole complex reality.
And that mistake filters everything else.
Completely. That fixed idea shapes how you see them next time and the time after.
But hang on, concepts are crucial. We can't just stop using words. Is the idea to, achieve some state beyond concepts, or is it about relating to them differently?
Oh, absolutely. The second one. The problem isn't the concept itself. It's what's called reification, treating it like a solid thing out there. And this leads right into maybe the most common way we create suffering for ourselves. Identification with thoughts. Thoughts just happen, right? They bubble up constantly. Mental events. But the illusion takes hold the moment we unconsciously grab onto a thought like, I'm not good enough, or this is going to be a disaster, and treat it as literal objective truth.
As if it defines you or defines reality.
Exactly. We assign permanence, solidity to something that's fundamentally just flickering through awareness. And that projection, believing in the permanence of these fleeting thoughts, is a huge source of suffering.
Okay, so this isn't just philosophical musing. If I strongly believe a thought like I'm fundamentally unworthy, how does that illusion actually play out, like physically or psychologically?
Well, it creates a kind of rigidity, doesn't it? If you deeply believe I'm unworthy, your whole system, mentally and even physically, has to work constantly to maintain that story. It looks for evidence, it defends against anything that contradicts it.
That sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. It creates friction, anxiety, chronic tension in the body, maybe even pain patterns. It takes massive energy to uphold the illusion of a fixed, flawed self. That psychological armor is the suffering. It's the price we pay for believing in fixed identities and fixed meanings in a world that's actually fluid.
Wow. Okay, so if this solid I is built from these fixed concepts, then what about the world it seems to live in? You mentioned the illusion of time and space. How does the mind trick us about something as basic as time?
Time. It's a beautiful construction, really. The mind builds this feeling of a linear past stretching behind us and a solid future waiting ahead, mainly using memory and anticipation. Thoughts about yesterday, thoughts about tomorrow.
You feel like we're on a timeline.
Totally. We're convinced the past happened back there and the future is up ahead. But if you look closely, where does the past or the future actually exist?
Only as thoughts happening right now.
Exactly. That big project you were dreading for weeks. The dread wasn't in the future. The dread was a thought, a feeling happening now. The past mistake you keep replaying, it's replaying now as a mental image or story. Time, from this deeper perspective, is seen as a function of thought arising in an eternal present.
Okay, mind slightly blown. And space. If I see the monitor over there and myself in here, that feels pretty real. That separation feels fundamental.
It does feel fundamental, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That sense of out there reinforces the sense of a separate in here. But again, with de-inquiry, space also starts to look like a projection. From an awakened perspective, the sources suggest the world feels less like solid, separate objects and more like, well, like an immediate flowing field. Shapes, colors, sensations appearing directly in awareness.
Like a hologram, you said, or a dream.
Yeah, those analogies pop up. The hard lines between observer and observed, between in here and out there, start to soften, even dissolve, especially as that solid sense of me dissolves.
Okay, let's ground this again. The most relatable illusion for probably everyone listening, suffering. We instinctively blame external things, right? The traffic jam, the difficult boss, the unexpected bill. That feels like the source of the stress.
That's the default assumption, absolutely. But inner exploration, time and again, points somewhere else. It suggests that the suffering doesn't come directly from the event itself. It comes from our perception of the event, our interpretation, our reaction. The event happened, sure, but the suffering, that's often added by the mind's commentary.
Can you give an example of that? How the mind adds the suffering?
Sure. Think about getting sudden critical feedback at work. The objective event is words being spoken, but the mind instantly jumps in. I'm going to get fired. I'm useless. They hate me. It takes the raw data, the words, and builds this huge, threatening story around it.
Magnifying the impacts.
Exponentially. The suffering isn't just the feedback. It's the catastrophic story the mind spins about what the feedback means about you and your future. We do this with physical sensations too, like pain. The raw sensation is one thing. The story, this will never end, I can't handle this, is what really ramps up the suffering. And this applies so clearly to emotions. We feel some energy, some heat or tension, and the mind rushes to slap a label on it. Anger, fear.
Right.
Then we react to the label and all the baggage that comes with it. We forget to just feel the raw energy itself. The sources talk about the non-dual nature of emotion here.
Non-dual nature. Okay, what does that mean in simple terms, relating to an emotion like fear?
Non-dual just means not two. It suggests that the sensation of fear and the awareness of this sensation aren't ultimately separate things. And the fear itself isn't truly separate from everything else happening in the moment. We feel the energy, then the mind quickly steps back, creates a me who is having the fear, judges it, fears bad, labels it, and starts fighting it.
So the separation itself creates the problem.
That separation is a big part of the suffering. If the energy we call fear is just observed directly, without the label, without the story, without the fight, you see it's just energy. It arises, it changes, it passes. It doesn't have to control you because the fighting it is also part of the illusion.
Okay, this feels like a lot. We're constantly being tricked by our own minds about time, space, self-suffering. So what's the practical way out? How do you even start to dismantle these illusions in daily life?
The core practice, really, across many traditions, is cultivating what's often called witness consciousness or mindful awareness. It sounds simple, but it's radical. It's the act of observing your thoughts, your feelings, your perceptions without automatically identifying with them.
Just watching them float by.
Kind of, yeah. Without grabbing onto them, without judging them, without trying to push them away, you start to notice, there's a worry thought, or there's a sensation of tightness. You see them as events happening in awareness rather than defining who you are. And when you practice this, the authority of those thoughts starts to diminish naturally. That tight grip of I am my thoughts begins to loosen. This witnessing capacity is really the fundamental tool for seeing through all the illusions we've talked about.
Okay, but let me push back a bit here. Isn't there a danger that cultivating a witness just creates another, maybe sneakier layer of illusion? Like building up this idea of a spiritual me who's perfectly detached and watching everything. Isn't that just swapping one ego for a shinier one?
That is a crucial point and a very common pitfall. Yes, if the witness becomes another identity, another role you're playing, look how aware I am, or judging your thoughts from this supposedly superior place, then you've just created a more subtle ego trap.
Right.
The authentic practice is realizing the witness isn't a thing. It's not another self. It's more like the space in which everything, including the thought I am witnessing, appears. It's awareness itself, which is inherently open and non-judgmental. It's a subtle but vital distinction.
Got it. That makes sense. So with that clarified, let's get really practical. How do we use this awareness to see through thoughts, recognizing, as you said, that no thought is ever absolutely true, it's just a perspective? What are the steps?
Okay, 4 key steps often emerge from the sources. Step 1. Observing thoughts. This is the foundation. Just notice them. You're driving, someone cuts you off, and that immediate judgment flares up. What an idiot. Just see the thought. Don't analyze it yet. Don't justify it. Don't condemn yourself for having it. Treat it like a cloud passing in the sky. It's happening, but it's not you.
Okay, just notice then what?
Step 2, question the validity. Once you can see the thought without being totally swept away, you introduce a gentle skepticism. Ask yourself about that. What an idiot thought, or maybe a recurring worry like I'm going to fail. Is this thought absolutely 100% true? Could there be any other way to see this situation?
Usually the answer is no. It's not absolutely true.
Right. When you investigate, you usually find the thought is based on assumptions, generalizations, maybe fear. It's not objective reality. You see its flimsy, constructed nature.
Okay. Step 3.
Step 3, track the consequences. This is about seeing the impact of believing the thought. Notice the cause and effect. When you buy into that thought, I'm going to fail, what happens in your body? Shoulders tense, stomach clenches. How does it make you feel emotionally? Anxious, demotivated. See how holding that thought as true directly creates unpleasant feelings and reinforces that sense of a struggling separate self.
So you connect the thought directly to the feeling it produces.
Exactly. You see the mechanism of suffering in action. And finally, step 4. Cultivate non-identification. This really ties it all together. It's the ongoing recognition that thoughts arise spontaneously. You don't choose most of them. They just appear.
Like bubbles rising in water.
Good analogy. Since you don't fully control their arising, they can't fundamentally be you. You are the awareness in which they arise. Consistently practicing this non-identification creates space. Space between the thought storm and the calm sky of awareness. And in that space, reality starts to appear much more clearly, less filtered by habitual reactions. #outro. So the ultimate point here isn't really about getting rid of thoughts or achieving some perfect blank mind. It's more about seeing concepts for what they are: useful, temporary tools, but not solid reality. Awakening in this sense is simply seeing things like self, time, good, bad as these fluid, empty constructs. When you see their nature, the whole architecture of illusion kind of just dissolves on its own.
Yeah, it's like you're developing this crucial skill, the ability to tell the difference between the content playing on the screen of your mind and the screen itself, the awareness. And when you can do that, your life really does start to shift. You move away from being constantly jerked around by reactive thinking, and you start to access this clarity, this freedom that our sources say is actually already here, just hidden under all the mental noise.
Right. So we want to leave you with a final thought to chew on, something that comes directly out of this material. If the fundamental reality, this isness we're talking about, is already whole, complete, and present right now, then what subtle illusion gets reinforced every time you believe that enlightenment or true freedom is some distant goal out there that you need to achieve through effort? How might the very intensity of your seeking, your striving for a future state of awakenedness, actually obscure the profound, simple freedom that's available right here, right now, in just this moment, exactly as it is? Think about that.
Until next time, keep diving deep.